So away the four Woodlawns trudged to school. The schoolroom was decorated with evergreen branches and a loop of faded bunting, and the children were conspicuously starched and clean. Even Miss Parker herself had a shiny black silk apron instead of the usual one of sparkled calico. A few of the Donneville parents sat on benches at the front of the room, looking self-conscious and important. Caddie's heart beat a little faster, but not so much for herself as for Warren, whose face wore a look of dark foreboding. Could one possibly forget a piece so short as this? Wondered Caddie uncomfortably. Then she heard Miss Parker calling her name, and she got up without any hesitation, mounted the platform, and made the neat curtsy Mother had taught her. A traveler on a dusty road strewed acorns on the lea, and one took fruit. It went off perfectly. Gestures, Boston action, and everything. Picture. She dropped another curtsy and returned to her seat, feeling that, perhaps for the first time in her life, she had acquitted herself exactly as an accomplished young lady would have done. Too bad that Mother had not been there to see. While she was still glowing with this novel excitement, she heard Miss Parker announce, "And now Master Warren Woodlawn will be heard in a recitation. Come right up in front, Warren." For a moment Warren clung desperately to the bench on which he sat. Then, with a rush, he mounted the platform and began to recite in a very loud voice. "If at first you don't fricassee, fry a hen." "Oh!" said Cassie. "Oh!" said everybody else, in various degrees of consternation and amusement. The titters spread into a roar of laughter. "Warren Woodlawn," said Miss Parker grimly, "you will please stop and see me after school." She rapped on her desk with the ruler, and silence was restored, but when a merry silence for everyone except Warren and poor outraged Miss Parker. The whoop and hurrah from which school always let out the term was somewhat spoiled for Tom and Caddie and Hetty. How could one jump and shout, with Warren still sitting uncomfortable on his bench, waiting for Miss Parker to finish shaking hands with the parents? Besides, the storm, which had been saving its fury all the morning, was just beginning to break all over the schoolhouse. There were gusts of wind and rain and clap after clap of thunder, with jagged streaks of lightning in the dark sky. The children scattered in their homes more quickly and silently than usual. Tom and Caddie and Hetty stayed in the cloakroom waiting for Warren. "Golly, I wish she'd hurry up," said Tom. "We're going to get a good ducking before we get home if she doesn't." "Let's go in," said Caddie. Cautiously they pushed the schoolroom door and entered the room, which was now deserted except for Warren and Miss Parker. "Now, Warren," Miss Parker was saying, "I give you one more opportunity to say your piece correctly. Now go ahead, do." Warren, his face was very red, his hands very much in the way, began to mumble the famous piece, but all that would come out, try as he might, was fry a hen, ominously. Miss Parker reached for her ruler. "Oh, say, ma'am," said Tom, coming quickly forward with his nice smile, "I guess it's my fault, 'cause I taught him that. You see, it's the first piece he ever spoke, and I guess he's pretty scared. I hope you'll forgive him and lay the blame on me." Miss Parker laid down her ruler with a sigh of relief. "Well," she said, "it's the last day of school. Run along now, all of you." But as they were starting home, all happily reunited, she ran after them to say, "Better come back and wait until the storm is over. You've got a long ways to go." "We can make it," called Tom back cheerfully. "Mother'll worry if we're late." "Good-bye, Miss Parker." "Good-bye, good-bye, good-bye," called the other three. "Good-bye," called Miss Parker, "and you're nice children, all of you, even if Warren did disgrace me." Before they had gone half a mile, the storm broke with all its strength. Lightning and thunder crashed and flashed together in a perfect fury. Stunned by the force of it, the children ran for shelter under the great oak tree that marked the halfway point between home and school. Its branches lashed and creaked, but it was something sturdy to cling to. Caddie and Warren and Hetty clung together under the tree, but Tom urged them on. "Let's go home," he shouted. "Let's run for it." "Oh, please, let's wait here," begged the others. "No," cried Tom, "we've got to get home. Come along, every one of you." When Tom made up his mind, the others followed him, shielding their faces. They dashed out of the shelter and along the road. Crash! Bang! There was a blinding flash, and something hurled them onto the ground. Dazed and crying, they picked themselves up and looked back. The oak tree had been split in two by lightning. Another moment, under its shelter, and all of them might have been killed. How they ran that last half-mile! No one had ever run it so quickly before. Even Hetty could not outstrip the others to be the first to tell. Breathless and wild-eyed, with wet and muddy clothes, they rushed into the kitchen. "Mother!" they shouted out all together. "Mother, listen to what happened to us." Okay, that's page 188.